It's been a while. I was just thinking because I'm at a point in my life when I have neglected my plants and they're not in good shape. And I was thinking about that time you told me that you can't keep plants because you always kill them. And so I thought that, that used to be me, and now I have a ton of plants and I run a plant shop. So I really believe that that's not true. I think that you can keep plants alive, and I want to show you what I do because I also use it as a way for me to take a pause and be in the present moment and check in with my mental health because oftentimes if I've neglected my plants, I'm also neglecting myself too. And I was thinking that perhaps that's what you're experiencing also. So come with me.
So my first tip, which in my opinion is actually the only tip, is just to look at your plants and look at them often. Pay attention to them, admire them. You'll start to notice when things are a little off. And what I mean by that is that you'll start to notice when the leaves are curling or something looks like it's drooping or starting to look a little crispy or just wrinkly, just different. You'll start to notice it. And when you start to notice these things, take a moment and check in with yourself. When was the last time I watered my plants? When was the last time I drank any water? When was the last time that I appreciated them? When was the last time I appreciated myself? Right? And then you carve out time. You pick your favorite music and you spend that time with yourself and your plants. So this one fell out of its pot and it's just a root ball. I need to repot it. I don't have time for that right now, so I'm just gonna water the root ball anyway because it still needs water. I'll come back to that. Don't get hung up on things that are not perfect if you have a lot to take care of. Just keep moving. Woo! That's me filming a time lapse. So 2 common ways that people kill plants is overwatering and underwatering. My advice to you is if you're gonna lean any way, err on the side of underwatering because the plants are a little bit easier to recoup if you've underwatered them. If you overwater them, they're susceptible to root rot and then they'll turn mushy. So during your walk around, pay attention to any mushy bits, and if you see that, try to cut it as high away from the root rot as possible. It is possible to save it. This is Frijolito basking in the sun. Also make sure that you take note of what plants grew, what looks fabulous, what are you doing a good job of, and what about in your life? What areas of your life have you grown in where you maybe didn't notice or weren't paying attention to it? Keep an eye out for bugs. If you've neglected things for a while, it's possible you have some pests. And this too can be taken care of. Don't get overwhelmed. If you can't deal with it right away, just pull them aside and isolate them away from the ones that do not have bugs. And a good way to relate bugs back to your own life could be like viruses, maybe you've been sick, or it could be, is there a pest, somebody pesky in your life that's kind of just sucking out your energy, or perhaps someone you have a hard time setting a boundary with. A good way to water your plants is to find a little tray and bottom water them. So that way your plant will just drink up whatever water that it wants and you don't have to worry about overwatering it. Just don't leave it for too long. This plant is about 5 years old. I am really sad that I neglected it like this, lemon lime pothos. But hope is not lost. This is a perfect opportunity to create new life. I'm going to prune it back and take away all the dead leaves. And then I'm going to cut it. And each of the root nodes by itself could have the potential to turn into a new plant. So while it stinks that I did that, there's still potential. And so what areas of your life have died away to create potential for new growth? If you've never propagated plants before, I have a link in the description to another video of mine where I teach you how to propagate this very plant. So during this sweep, I am watering what needs to be watered. I'm paying attention to every single plant. I'm taking note of any bugs and taking care of those. If something's been overwatered, I'm trying to cut it and save the plant as much as I possibly can. And I'm looking for things that need trimming or pruning, picking off any dead leaves, and just paying attention as I go. And hopefully during this part, for yourself, you are having a blast because you are listening to your favorite music and you're taking that time out to be with yourself. You're probably not heavy breathing, you're most likely relaxed, and you're just enjoying spending time with these living beings that you are appreciating during this time. And that they're appreciating you back because you're paying attention to them. Here's an example of a Christmas cactus that is underwatered. You can tell that it is super wrinkly. But it does have this nice blushing from being in the sun. So even though it needs some help, it's still beautiful. This plant was dusty. I'm trying to focus the camera so I can show you, but it was awful. And how do we relate the dust back to ourselves? When was the last time you took a shower? That's okay. But clean up. Freshen yourself up. You need it. You deserve it. Always take a moment to appreciate areas of new growth that you notice. Look at how beautiful this root system is. And also pay attention to where you didn't do so good. But don't dwell on it because death is a part of life. This right here is potential for new growth. And here are kalanchos that are thriving from a leaf cutting. And hey, listen, just because sometimes you kill plants doesn't mean you should give up on them. It happens to even seasoned gardeners, so don't be too hard on yourself.
Whew. All right, I'm finally done taking care of all of the plants. And I hope that you saw value in what we discussed, and I hope that you have the confidence now to get all of the plants, because I know you can do it. I know you can keep them alive. It's not that hard. They're more resilient than we think. Until next time, stay magical.